Chapter 2804. Kid, you're playing with fire this time. Bone Demon sighed in his sea of consciousness. Senior, is there any way for me to have the strength to contend with Tianhong? Lu Ming asked. This time, Lu Ming did not expect the Tianhong saint to rush over so quickly. However, given Lu Ming's character, even if he knew, he would still come to deal with Lu Feiyan. Swallowing his pride was not Lu Ming's character. That kid is very powerful. With your current strength, there is only one way to have the strength to contend with the Tianhong saint in a short period of time. That is to completely ignite the ancient god's heart. That way, you will gain great power in a short period of time. However, the consequence is that your ancient god's heart may disappear completely. This is a huge price to pay. Bone Demon sighed. Ignite the ancient god's heart? It will disappear completely? Lu Ming frowned. Being able to condense the ancient god's heart was a great opportunity. This kind of opportunity could only be found by chance. If it was lost, it would be gone. Lu Ming was reluctant. With the ancient god's heart, his divine body could grow larger at any time. In the long run, the benefits would be amazing. However, if there was no other way, he could only give it a try. Lu Ming, first, kneel down. The Tianhong saint looked down from above. His aura was like the sea, constantly pressing down on Lu Ming. At the same time, he stretched out a palm and pressed down. A huge palm, like an ancient sacred mountain, pressed down on Lu Ming. The palm had yet to reach him, but the terrifying pressure had already caused Lu Ming's body to creak and make creaking sounds. There was no way to resist. The difference between the two was too great. Regardless of whether it was Lu Ming or Qiu, they were all very weak in front of the Tianhong saint. It seems that I can only ignite the ancient god's heart. Lu Ming revealed a determined look. Although the ancient god's heart was precious, it was nothing compared to his life. Come on. Lu Ming was enraged. He was about to erupt and ignite his ancient god heart. Right at this time, a delicate cry sounded out, Tianhong, you're a dignified celestial deity realm holy son. To actually make a move to deal with a third-level true god person, you're really shameless. If you want to fight, I'll be your opponent. Before he could finish his words, a streak of sword chi had already flown over from the distance, reminiscent of an otherworldly deity. Boom! The sword light struck the great Sky Hong Saint Sun's palm print and exploded with a violent boom. The palm print trembled and was split into two by the sword light. Whoosh! Suddenly, a figure appeared in the distant sky. Ouyang Qingxiang. At the critical moment, Ouyang Qingxiang made her move. She slashed apart the great Sky Saint's palm. It wasn't that Ouyang Qingxiang was much stronger than the Heavenly Hong Saint. It was just that the Heavenly Hong Saint hadn't used his full strength in that move. In order to save Lu Ming, Ouyang Qingxiang had used even more strength. That was why she had been able to split open the Heavenly Hong Saint's palm imprint with one move. Lu Ming heaved a sigh of relief. Ouyang Qingxiang had arrived. It seemed like he didn't need to burn the ancient god's heart. After all, the ancient god's heart was too precious. Unless it was absolutely necessary, Lu Ming couldn't bear to waste it. Ouyang Qingxiang, are you trying to be a busybody? The Heavenly Hong Saint's son's face turned cold as he stared coldly at Ouyang Qingxiang. What do you mean by being a busybody? Lu Ming and I are friends. If you want to deal with him, you're dealing with me, Ouyang Qingxiang said. Humph. Humph, do you think that you can stop me? The Heavenly Hong Saint's son snorted coldly. His body emitted a golden divine power as his aura grew stronger. You'll know once you try. Although you became a saint earlier than me, you might not be able to defeat me, Ouyang Qingxiang said coldly. Ouyang Chang said coldly as a powerful sword chi burst out from his body and pierced through the sky. Holy Lady Qingxiang and the Heavenly Hong Saint's son are about to fight. It's been a long time since the saints and holy ladies have fought. I'm looking forward to it. I wonder who's stronger. I don't know. Although Holy Lady Qingxiang became a holy lady later, her talent is amazing. She might not be weaker than the heavenly Hong Saint Sun. I didn't expect Lu Ming to be friends with Holy Lady Qingxiang. Speaking of which, Lu Ming is really terrifying. If he grows up, he might surpass the other saints and holy ladies. Only the supreme saints can fight him. Yeah, I wonder how today's matter will be resolved. More and more people gathered in the area. Even some of the inner sect elders appeared to watch from afar. Divine Dragon Palm. Suddenly, the heavenly Hong Saint Sun let out a long roar as his divine power erupted. He formed seals with both hands and waved them out. A huge dragon claw was formed and grabbed at Ouyang Qingxiang. Green Lotus Sword Song. Ouyang Qingxiang muttered. Her sword aura surged as she waved her sword. A green sword radiance burst out and slashed at the huge dragon claw. Boom! A terrifying collision erupted, causing thousands of ripples. It was as if the entire inner sect area was shaking violently. Let's fight! Ouyang Qingxiang's voice rang out as her body turned into a green sword radiance and rushed into the sky. Roar! A dragon's roar came from the heavenly Hong Saint Sun's body. His body underwent a huge change in an instant. The heavenly Hong Saint Sun's body became tall and sturdy. His muscles bulged, and his body was twice as big as before. A layer of golden scales appeared on the surface of his skin. They shone brightly under the sunlight. Those were dragon scales. More shockingly, the heavenly Hong Saint Sun grew a tail. A dragon's tail. Dragon human race. Lu Ming squinted his eyes as he recognized the heavenly Hong Saint Sun's race. The heavenly Hong Saint Sun was from the dragon human race. Lu Ming had seen this race before. In the Yellow Springs Mountain Yellow Springs world, there was a country formed by the dragon human race. Divine Dragon Palm. The heavenly Hong Saint Sun revealed his true form. His combat strength was even stronger as he continuously used the divine dragon palm. In the sky, 9 golden dragon claws formed consecutively and grabbed at Ouyang Qingxiang. Green Lotus Sword Song, Sword Shakes the World. Ouyang Qingxiang turned around and streaks of green sword chi shot out, slashing at the golden dragon claws. In the sky, there was an uproar as the two of them engaged in an intense battle. The scene was extremely shocking. Lu Ming's face turned solemn. With his current strength, he was still a far cry from the heavenly Hong Saint Sun and Ouyang Qingxiang. You're only a level 4 heavenly god. Lu Ming, don't belittle yourself. With your talent, you'll catch up to them in a few years. Gu Mo's voice sounded as though he had seen through Lu Ming's thoughts. Level 4 heavenly god? Lu Ming nodded. He wondered how the other saints and saintesses of the Kongxian school were. Swoosh! Swoosh! Just then, 2 figures flew over from afar. They were Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng. Lu Ming, are you alright? Yu Linglong asked. I'm fine. Did you inform Saintess Qingxiang? Thank you. Lu Ming smiled. Lu Ming knew that Ouyang Qingxiang must have been informed by Yu Linglong and Ouyang Qingxiang and rushed over. It's good that you're fine. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng nodded and looked up at the battle in the sky. Chapter 2805. At that moment, Ouyang Qingxiang and the Tianhong Saint had already exchanged more than 100 moves, but it was still difficult to determine the victor. The Tianhong Saint's face darkened. Ouyang Qingxiang, you forced me to do this. I'll show you my true trump card. Divine Dragon Dharma Idol, come out. The Tianhong Saint roared as his divine power surged. Half of the sky was dyed golden. Roar! Then, a dragon's roar shook the 9 heavens. A huge true dragon appeared above the Tianhong Saint's head. No, it should not be called a true dragon. In the desolate universe, all true dragons that reached the martial god realm were called divine dragons. Seeing this divine dragon, Lu Ming was dazzled. He thought that he had returned to the era when the divine wilderness continent was fighting for supremacy. This move was very similar to the move that the Tianhong saint used when he was below the martial monarch realm. However, this was clearly not a bloodline technique, but a secret technique. A divine dragon formed with a secret technique had a terrifying aura. What shocked Lu Ming the most was that this divine dragon did not have 5 claws, but 6. 6 claws, what's going on? Could it be a mutated divine dragon? Lu Ming's mind was racing. Back then, when Lu Ming had just gone to the Yuanlu, he had met Zhou Yingying. Her bloodline was a 6-clawed true dragon. In the Heaven realm and the Yuanlu realm, dragons had 6 claws. Those with more than 7 claws were considered mutated true dragons, such as the 9 dragons. Therefore, Lu Ming naturally thought that the divine dragon formed by the Tianhong saint was also a mutated one. Roar! The 6-clawed golden dragon roared as its body, which was tens of thousands of meters long, pounced at Ouyang Qingxiang. Azure Lotus Sword Song, God-slaying sword. Facing the Tianhong saint's secret technique, Ouyang Qingxiang's expression turned grave. She also executed her secret technique. Countless azure sword lights burst out from her body. These sword lights gathered into an azure lotus flower. It spun and flew toward the 6-clawed golden dragon. The 6-clawed golden dragon roared and clawed at the azure lotus with its claws. There was a deafening explosion. The sky was boiling, and a terrifying force surged in all directions. This was the most powerful collision between the saint and the saintess. The scene was astonishing. However, something happened to Lu Ming's body. He felt his body burning up, and the blood in his body seemed to be boiling. In fact, the roar of a dragon could be heard from Lu Ming's blood. This is the sound of the 9 dragons. Lu Ming was astonished. Lu Ming had once refined 9 drops of blood essence from the 9 dragons. As Lu Ming's cultivation continued to rise, these 9 drops of blood essence fused with Lu Ming's blood and remained hidden within his body. The Great Sky Saint's secret technique had actually caused the 9 dragons' blood essence to react. This secret technique is so powerful. If I can get my hands on it, I will definitely be able to cultivate it to an extremely high level. Lu Ming's mind spun as his eyes burned with passion. He had a feeling that the Great Sky Hong Saint's mystic technique was very suitable for him. This was a desire that came from the 9 dragons' blood essence. The battle between the Great Sky Hong Saint and Ouyang Qingxiang became even more intense. However, Ouyang Qingxiang was already at a disadvantage. The Great Sky Hong Saint's mystic technique, the Divine Dragon Aspect Art, was so powerful that it started to suppress Ouyang Qingxiang. Of course, it wasn't that Ouyang Qingxiang's Green Lotus Sword Song wasn't powerful. Ouyang Qingxiang's Green Lotus Sword Song was also terrifyingly powerful. However, Ouyang Qingxiang's cultivation was slightly weaker than the Great Sky Hong Saint's. The Great Sky Hong Saint's cultivation was at the peak of the 4th level Heavenly God realm, while Ouyang Qingxiang was at the early stage of the 4th level Heavenly God realm. At the beginning of the battle, the difference couldn't be seen. However, as the battle dragged on, the difference gradually became apparent. If this continued, it would be disadvantageous for Ouyang Qingxiang. Ouyang Qingxiang, I've said that you can't stop me. The Great Sky Hong Saint roared as he circulated the Divine Dragon Aspect Art with all his might. The 6-clawed golden dragon's power became even more terrifying. Ouyang Qingxiang didn't say a word as she resisted with all her might. It wouldn't be easy for the Great Sky Hong Saint to win in a short period of time. Below, Lu Ming's eyes shifted as he suddenly revealed a determined look. Great Sky Hong, don't you want to attack me? I'll give you a chance. Lu Ming shouted, and his voice reverberated throughout the entire arena. Many people looked curiously at Lu Ming, including the Great Sky Hong Saint and Ouyang Qingxiang. How about I make a bet with you? Lu Ming said. What bet? The Great Sky Hong Saint asked. If you attack me, I'll take 1 move from you. However, it's only 1 move. After that, you'll have to leave. Lu Ming said. His words caused an uproar among the crowd. What? Lu Ming wants to take 1 move from the Great Sky Hong Saint? Crazy, he's crazy. He's courting death. That's right. One move from the great Sky Hong Saint is terrifying. With Lu Ming's cultivation, he'll definitely die. He knows that the great Sky Hong Saint won't back down today, so he wants to take a gamble. Everyone looked at Lu Ming in disbelief. Lu Ming, you can't. Yu Linglong shouted. That's right, Brother Lu. The great Sky Hong Saint's cultivation is too strong. You can't take this risk. Wu Zifeng also spoke. If Lu Ming were to take one move from the great Sky Hong Saint, he would definitely die. A cold murderous intent flashed across the great Sky Hong Saint's eyes as he said, "Is what you said true?" Of course it's true. However, I have a condition. If I can take one move from you and not die, you have to give me your divine dragon aspect technique. Lu Ming said. This was his plan. He wanted to obtain the great Sky Hong Saint's divine dragon aspect technique. You want my divine dragon aspect technique? Dream on. The great Sky Hong Saint's voice became extremely cold. Why not? I'm betting my life with you. If I can't take one move from you, I'll die. Isn't it worth it for me to pay such a high price for a secret technique? Also, do you have no confidence in yourself and think that you can't kill me in one move? Lu Ming sneered. I have no confidence. What a joke. Alright, I'll bet with you. The great Sky Hong Saint said loudly. With his cultivation, he could kill Lu Ming with just one move, let alone using his full strength. Why wouldn't he dare to bet? He could take the opportunity to get rid of Lu Ming completely. Lu Ming, you don't have to take the risk. I can stop him. Ouyang Qingxiang sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming. It's okay. I'm confident. Don't worry, Saintess Qingxiang. Lu Ming replied. Ouyang Qingxiang's eyes flickered a few times. Then, she quickly retreated and distanced herself from the great Sky Hong Saint. The two of them stopped. Hey, Lu Ming, what are you trying to do? Do you want to die? Even if you want to die, don't drag me down with you. At this moment, the Bone Demon in Lu Ming's mind was stamping with rage. Senior Bone Demon, I can only rely on you to decide whether I live or die this time. Lu Ming said. Look at me. Look at my ass. Brat, you're courting death. Go and face it yourself. The Bone Demon roared. Senior Bone Demon, are you going to watch me be killed? If I'm killed, I'm afraid I'll never be able to complete Senior Jingyu's matter. Lu Ming sighed. You're threatening me, the Bone Demon roared. Chapter 2806. I wouldn't dare to threaten you. Given my current situation, I have no choice but to take a risk. Lu Ming sighed. Guillemot was so angry that his bones were trembling. He gritted his teeth and said, All right, I'll help you one more time. Let me tell you, this is the last time. Besides, I don't have much energy left. I might not be able to help you block that kid's attack. Take care of yourself. Senior, you just need to block a part of his attack for me. Leave the rest to me. Lu Ming said happily. Guillemot could only agree. Boom! At that moment, the Tianhong Saint appeared above Lu Ming. His violent aura kept pressuring Lu Ming. A six-clawed divine dragon circled above the Tianhong Saint's head. It looked mighty. Kid, do you have any last words? I'll give you a chance. The Tianhong Saint said coldly. He was full of confidence. If he attacked with all his strength, even an ordinary level 4 heavenly god would be crushed to pieces, let alone Lu Ming. Let's do it. Lu Ming's eyes were full of fighting spirit. The 6 divine fires in his dantian jumped. A crimson golden armor appeared in front of Lu Ming. At the same time, 9 ice chains flew out and surrounded Lu Ming. Qiuqiu turned into a pool of liquid metal and climbed onto Lu Ming's body. It then turned into armor on Lu Ming's body. In Lu Ming's mind, Gumo's body glowed. A stream of energy flowed into Lu Ming's body and formed a layer of defense. Petty tricks. Go to hell. The Tianhong saint shouted coldly. His eyes were full of murderous intent. Roar! The six-clawed divine dragon roared and grabbed Lu Ming with one of its dragon claws. He wanted to kill Lu Ming in one move. Originally, in the Kongxian school, it was forbidden to kill fellow disciples, especially when Lu Ming was a saint. However, Lu Ming had asked to take the Tianhong saint's attack. This way, it wouldn't be within the restrictions of the sect. This was also the reason why the Tianhong saint agreed. He could take the opportunity to kill Lu Ming. Otherwise, Lu Ming would hide in the sect and it wouldn't be easy for him to kill Lu Ming. He's attacking. Can Lu Ming block it? Lu Ming is dead. Everyone's gaze was focused on Lu Ming as thoughts flashed through their minds. Boom! The golden dragon claw was like a small mountain, bombarding Lu Ming's body. The first to bear the brunt of the attack was the ice chain. Bam! 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 Almost in an instant, the 9 ice chains shattered and exploded. What a terrifying power! Lu Ming was secretly taken aback. He then felt an incomparably powerful force, as though it could topple the mountains and trample the seas, pressing down on him. Block it for me, Lu Ming let out a long howl and unleashed all his power. However, when the dragon's claw pressed down, the rocks under Lu Ming's feet exploded and crumbled. A huge pit appeared. Lu Ming was blasted into the huge pit. Smoke and dust filled the air, and Lu Ming's figure couldn't be seen anymore. How is it? Is Lu Ming dead? He's definitely dead. With his cultivation, he'll definitely die if he takes the Tianhong saint's attack. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the huge pit. They wanted to know Lu Ming's situation. Lu Ming, Yu Linglong, Wu Zifeng, Ouyang Qingxiang, and the others also stared at the huge pit with worried expressions. Humph, this brat is finally dead. A smile appeared on the Tianhong saint's face. He had absolute confidence in that attack of his. Although he had not used all of his strength in that attack, he had used 80% of his strength. Even with 80% of his strength, he was confident that he could kill Lu Ming. However, in the next moment, the smile on the Tianhong saint's face disappeared and was replaced by disbelief. That's... Damn it, how is that possible? The Tianhong saint roared in anger. Cough, cough, cough. At this moment, a dry cough came from the huge pit. When the smoke and dust dissipated, the crowd could finally see the situation clearly. They saw Lu Ming lying in the huge pit, covered in blood. He was also coughing up blood. Lu Ming was seriously injured, but he wasn't dead. He's not dead. He's not dead. He's not dead. Oh my God, with his cultivation, he took the Tianhong saint's attack head-on and didn't die. How is that possible? Many people cried out in disbelief. However, Yu Linglong, Ouyang Qingxiang, and the others were ecstatic. This brat is indeed powerful. Lu Ming coughed up a few more mouthfuls of blood and circulated his divine power to heal his injuries. He was indeed seriously injured in the previous attack. The Tianhong saint's power was too strong. His own defense collapsed in an instant. Qiuqiu was also injured. It turned into a bracelet and attached itself to Lu Ming's hand. If not for Gu Mo's help, he definitely wouldn't have been able to withstand the Tianhong saint's attack and would have been killed. However, in the end, he managed to withstand the attack. He had made the right bet. Damn it, damn it. Kill. The Tianhong saint was enraged and revealed a frenzied killing intent. He took a step forward and an earth-shattering force blasted towards Lu Ming. Tianhong, you're despicable. Ouyang Qingxiang had been staring at the Tianhong saint for a long time. When the Tianhong saint attacked, Ouyang Qingxiang also attacked. She slashed out with her sword and a sword radiance blocked the Tianhong saint's attack. Tianhong, you made a bet with Lu Ming on one move. Now that you didn't kill Lu Ming with one move, you want to make a second move. Do you have the right to be the Kongxian school's saint when you go back on your words? Ouyang Qingxiang shouted angrily. The Tianhong saint could only stop. Many people had seen the bet between him and Lu Ming. Now, he couldn't go back on his word even if he wanted to. Tianhong, you've lost. Hand over the divine dragon aspect art. Lu Ming struggled to get up and looked at the Tianhong saint. The Tianhong saint's face was terrifyingly gloomy. He stared at Lu Ming and said, Lu Ming, I've underestimated you this time. However, it's impossible for me to hand over the divine dragon aspect art. Change your condition. I'll try my best to satisfy you. The Tianhong saint actually wanted to go back on his word. I don't need to change my condition. I want the divine dragon aspect art. We agreed on it during the bet. Tianhong, are you going back on your word now? Lu Ming said. The Tianhong saint's murderous intent had reached its peak. He had agreed to Lu Ming's bet because he didn't expect to lose. He thought that he would definitely win. That was why he agreed to Lu Ming's bet. Lu Ming, don't push your luck, the Tianhong saint said coldly. The Tianhong saint said coldly. His threat was obvious. What do you mean push my luck? What a joke. I'm just getting what I deserve. I risked my life for it. Tianhong, hand over the divine dragon aspect art. Lu Ming said loudly. The Tianhong saint gritted his teeth. He wished he could chop Lu Ming into pieces. However, so many people had seen it today. If he went back on his word in public, it would damage his reputation greatly. It would also be disadvantageous for him to compete for the position of the Kongxian school's sect leader. What right did a person who went back on his word have to be in charge of the Kongxian school? Chapter 2807. Lu Ming, the divine dragon aspect technique requires the bloodline of the divine dragon to be cultivated. You don't have the bloodline of the divine dragon. Even if I give it to you, you won't be able to cultivate it. The Tianhong saint said. You don't have to worry about that. You just need to give me the divine dragon aspect technique. Lu Ming said plainly. The Tianhong saint gritted his teeth, but he had no choice. His palm glowed, and a scroll appeared in his hand. For you, the Tianhong saint waved his hand, and the scroll flew out with a terrifying whistling sound. Needless to say, the scroll contained a terrifying power. Ouyang Qingxiang caught the scroll in a flash. She came to Lu Ming's side and handed it to Lu Ming. Thank you. Lu Ming thanked her and took the scroll. He opened it and read it. After reading it, Lu Ming's face darkened. He looked coldly at the Tianhong saint and said, The divine dragon aspect technique you gave me is incomplete. Are you going back on your word? Although he had never come into contact with the divine dragon aspect technique, he could still tell if a secret technique was complete. The divine dragon aspect technique that I obtained was incomplete in the first place. Otherwise, do you think you can stop me? The Tianhong saint said coldly. Tianhong, if you want to go back on your word, just say it. You don't have to find such excuses. Lu Ming sneered. I said that the divine dragon aspect technique I obtained is incomplete. Don't you understand? The Tianhong saint's face darkened. Lu Ming, this is true. I heard that the Tianhong saint's divine dragon aspect technique was obtained from an ancient relic. It is indeed incomplete. Ouyang Qingxiang said. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. It seemed that the Tianhong saint was not lying. Humph, let's go. In the air, the Tianhong saint snorted, waved his sleeves, and turned to leave. He had suffered a great loss today. Not only did he fail to kill Lu Ming, but he also lost the divine dragon aspect technique. In his heart, he had already put Lu Ming on his must-kill list. The great sky saint and his people left with their tails between their legs. Fragrant saintess, thank you for saving me this time. Lu Ming cupped his fists towards Ouyang Qingxiang to express his gratitude. This time, if not for Ouyang Qingxiang, he would not have had the chance to bet with the great Sky Hong saint. The Tianhong saint had only agreed to the bet because he could not win over Ouyang Qingxiang. "You're too polite. You'll have to rely on yourself this time." Ouyang Qingxiang's beautiful eyes flickered as her curiosity towards Lu Ming grew. Lu Ming was only a third-level true god and could actually receive a move from the great sky's holy sun and not die. The Tianhong saint's son was a peak fourth-level celestial god. By the way, Saint Qingxiang, why does the Tianhong saint's divine dragon aspect have 6 dragon claws? Lu Ming voiced out the doubts in his heart. "That's a 6-clawed divine dragon. Don't tell me you don't even know that." Ouyang Qingxiang said. 6-clawed divine dragon? I really don't know much about the dragon clan. Lu Ming smiled awkwardly. Among the dragon clan, the most ordinary dragon clan has 5 dragon claws. As for the higher-ranked dragon clan, they have 6 or even 7 dragon claws, Ouyang Qingxiang explained. 6 dragon claws, 7 dragon claws. Isn't it because of a mutation? Lu Ming asked again. Mutation? How is that possible? The more dragon claws a dragon clan has, the purer their bloodline and the higher their level, the more talented and powerful they are. Most of the dragons in the dragon clan are 5-clawed divine dragons. 6-clawed divine dragons are already considered high-level divine dragons. There are very few of them. The more of them there are, the more talented and powerful they are. However, there are fewer of them. I heard that the highest-level divine dragon in the dragon clan has 9 dragon claws and is known as the 9-clawed divine dragon. Ouyang Qingxiang explained. I see. Looks like my previous understanding of the dragon clan was wrong. Lu Ming murmured to himself and suddenly realized something. In the past, all the true dragons in the primordial realm had 5 claws, so the occasional 6-clawed or even 9-clawed dragon was considered a mutation. In fact, that wasn't the case. The more dragon claws a dragon clan had, the stronger the ancient bloodline in the dragon claws. It seems that the 9 dragons aren't a mutation, but a sign that the ancient bloodline in their bodies is extremely rich. What a pity. Thinking of this, Lu Ming sighed. He felt that it was a pity that the 9 dragons were born in the heaven realm, which was a small world. He was afraid that their talents weren't stimulated at all. The 9-clawed dragon was the highest-level divine dragon in the untainted universe. If the 9 dragons were born in the untainted universe, their achievements would be limitless. Lu Ming, if you're interested in the dragon clan, you can find some related books to read. These are common knowledge in the untainted universe. Ouyang Qingxiang said. Okay. Lu Ming nodded. However, he thought that common knowledge might not be the case. In the chaotic galaxy, the understanding of the dragon clan was probably very limited. Otherwise, the ancestor of techniques and even the ancestral dragon would know the origin of the 9 dragons. They all thought that the 9 dragons were a mutation of the true dragons. Immediately, Lu Ming, Ouyang Qingxiang, Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng all left. Lu Ming first went to Enhai's residence to help Enhai and the others heal. A few days later, Enhai and the others' injuries were no longer serious. Lu Ming then returned to his residence to cultivate and heal his injuries. He had taken a blow from the heavenly Hong Saint, and his injuries were severe. It took him half a month to fully recover. After his injuries were healed, Lu Ming took out the secret art Divine Dragon Dharma Image Art and read it carefully. The Divine Dragon Dharma Image Art was incomparably mysterious. After successfully cultivating it, one could condense a Divine Dragon Dharma image. Its power was extremely shocking. Moreover, the power of the Divine Dragon Dharma image was closely related to the concentration of the Divine Dragon's bloodline in the cultivator's body. The higher the grade of the bloodline, the purer the Divine Dragon Dharma image would be. A few days later, Lu Ming had almost figured out the Divine Dragon Dharma image art. He then cultivated according to the records. Unexpectedly, Lu Ming's cultivation was extremely smooth. There was no difficulty at all. In just half a month, Lu Ming had successfully cultivated it. Roar! Lu Ming sat cross-legged in the courtyard and cultivated the divine dragon Dharma image art. A dragon's roar came from his body. Then, a divine dragon condensed above Lu Ming's head. This divine dragon was only a few meters long. The size of the divine dragon Dharma image could be controlled at will. If Lu Ming wanted to, he could make the divine dragon Dharma image tens of thousands of meters long. What was shocking was that there were 8 dragon claws on its abdomen. An 8-clawed divine dragon. The Tianhong saint had only cultivated a 6-clawed divine dragon Dharma image. However, Lu Ming had cultivated an 8-clawed divine dragon Dharma image. However, Lu Ming was not satisfied. He frowned slightly. He originally thought that the divine dragon Dharma image that he cultivated should be a 9-clawed dragon. Chapter 2808. As expected, this godly dragon aspect technique is incomplete. If it were complete, I would definitely be able to cultivate the 9-clawed godly dragon aspect, and I might even be able to cultivate more than 1. 2, 3, 4, or even more are all possible. Lu Ming thought to himself. He had a strong desire for the complete divine dragon aspect technique. Thinking about it, once he started fighting, he could directly condense dozens of divine dragon aspects. How powerful would that be? The divine dragon aspect technique was simply too suitable for him. Without a doubt, condensing a divine dragon aspect would consume a lot of divine power. However, Lu Ming cultivated the universe myriad Dao technique and was able to cultivate multiple divine flames. His divine power was much stronger than others. Furthermore, he had the quantifying character formula, so he didn't have to worry about running out of divine power. The Great Sky Saint's divine dragon aspect technique was obtained from an ancient ruin. Then, does that ancient ruin have a complete divine dragon aspect? Lu Ming pondered. He really wanted to obtain the complete divine dragon aspect technique. Once he obtained it, his battle strength would increase greatly. Let's go ask Ouyang Qingxiang and see if she knows. Thinking of this, Lu Ming left the courtyard and headed towards Ouyang Qingxiang's residence. The residence of the saintess was naturally extraordinary. It occupied an entire mountain peak, and there were people guarding it. How impressive! It's a pity that there are too few people relying on me. Otherwise, I could also apply for a mountain peak to live in. Lu Ming thought to himself. Of course, he only had a few subordinates now. If he applied for a mountain peak with no one living in it, it would be a joke. Stop! When Lu Ming arrived at the mountain peak, he was blocked by several young women. However, when the few young ladies saw Lu Ming's appearance clearly, they looked at him with admiration. Holy Son Lu Ming, it's you. Holy Son Lu Ming, are you looking for our saintess? The young and beautiful women blinked their big eyes, curiously sizing up Lu Ming. Lu Ming had only joined the Kongxian school for a few decades, but he had already become a holy son with his true immortal realm cultivation. Since ancient times, beauties loved heroes. Naturally, they would be curious and worship him. Yes, I'm looking for Saintess Qingxiang. Please inform her. Lu Ming said with a slight smile. Holy Son Lu Ming, please wait a moment. Immediately, a young woman flew towards the mountain peak. After a while, several figures flew out. The person in the lead was Ouyang Qingxiang. Lu Ming, why are you looking for me today? Come, please. Ouyang Qingxiang smiled and flew toward the mountain peak with Lu Ming. They came to a pavilion and sat opposite each other. I came here today to inquire about Tianhong's divine dragon aspect technique. Saintess Qingxiang said that Tianhong's divine dragon aspect technique came from an ancient ruin. I wonder where that ruin is? Lu Ming asked. Looks like Brother Lu is eyeing the complete divine dragon aspect technique. However, if you want to cultivate the divine dragon aspect technique, you need a strong divine dragon bloodline. Otherwise, even if you get it, you won't be able to cultivate it. Why does Brother Lu want the divine dragon aspect technique? To give it to someone? Ouyang Qingxiang asked curiously. Of course, to cultivate it myself. Lu Ming said with a smile. Cultivate it yourself? Ouyang Qingxiang was even more curious. But in the next moment, her beautiful eyes widened as a divine dragon appeared above Lu Ming's head. Divine dragon aspect, and it's an 8-clawed divine dragon aspect. Ouyang Qingxiang's red lips widened in shock. It took her quite a while to recover. Brother Lu, I've underestimated you. I didn't expect you to have the divine dragon bloodline in your body. Moreover, you managed to cultivate an 8-clawed divine dragon aspect in just a month. I wonder what Tian Hong's expression will be when he sees this. Ouyang Qingxiang exclaimed. It's a pity that the divine dragon aspect technique that Tian Hong gave me is incomplete. Lu Ming sighed. Ouyang Qingxiang finally knew why Lu Ming wanted to obtain the complete divine dragon aspect technique. Tian Hong obtained the divine dragon aspect technique from an ancient ruin. All these years, he has been keeping the ruin a secret and has been secretly excavating it. I guess he wants to obtain the complete divine dragon aspect technique, but he hasn't succeeded. In the past, I had secretly dispatched people to investigate that remnant. Thus, I knew where it was located. Ouyang Qingxiang said. I know. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Ouyang Qingxiang nodded and said, that relic is in a more remote place in the Qin Tian star sector. It's called the Yellow Wind Galaxy. Lu Ming, if you want to go there, I can accompany you. Thank you. Lu Ming stood up and thanked her. With Ouyang Qingxiang's help, his confidence would be much higher. There's no time to lose. Let's set off now. Ouyang Qingxiang was also a swift and decisive person. She and Lu Ming immediately went to Kongxian School's transmission array and took it to Yellow Wind Star River. The Yellow Wind Star River was very far away from the mysterious sky sect. The two of them took a full month and a half to arrive on a planet in the Yellow Wind Star River. Then, they took the interstellar battleship and flew toward their destination. After flying for a few more days, a strange planet appeared in front of them. From afar, this planet looked like a dragon's head. It was as if a huge divine dragon had its head chopped off. Its head floated in the air and formed the planet. This is the Dragon Head planet. There are no living creatures on this planet. It's a desolate place. The divine dragon aspect technique that Tian Hong obtained is on this planet. Tian Hong is probably on this planet now. We'd better be careful to avoid alerting him. Ouyang Qingxiang said. Lu Ming nodded. Immediately, the two of them exited the interstellar battleship and appeared in the starry sky. With Lu Ming's current cultivation, he could still fly in the starry sky for a short period of time. Ouyang Qingxiang, on the other hand, was in the heavenly god realm. She could already cross the starry sky with her own strength. The two of them concealed their aura and flew toward Dragon Head planet. Soon, the two of them entered the atmosphere of Dragon Head planet and landed on a mountain peak. The relic should be in the east. Let's go. Ouyang Qingxiang said. Dragon Head planet was not very big. It was much smaller than the other planets with life. In a short while, they had flown across more than half of the planet. A huge mountain range appeared in front of them. It looked like a divine dragon lying on the ground. Suddenly, they saw a figure flashing by. The two of them quickly hid and watched from afar. At the head of the mountain range, there was a huge cave entrance. A group of people was guarding the entrance. There were both young people and old people. It's Tian Hong's people. It seems that Tian Hong is really here. Ouyang Qingxiang said. Lu Ming frowned slightly. Tian Hong's people were guarding the cave entrance. How were they going to enter? Chapter 2809. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang decided to wait on the spot. They wanted to wait for the Skybright Saints' men to leave before entering the ruins. However, a month had passed and the Skybright Saints' men did not show any signs of leaving. Saint Qingxiang, what are the cultivation levels of the guards? Lu Ming asked. Some of them are very strong. They are outer sect elders. Some are in the third level of the heavenly god realm, and 2 of them are in the 4th level. Ouyang Qingxiang said. Oh? Lu Ming's eyes flickered and said, Saint Qingxiang, can you help me lure them away? I'll enter the cave quietly. It's not a problem to lure them away, but the Skybright Saint might be in the cave. There might be other experts inside. I'm afraid it'll be dangerous if you go in. Ouyang Qingxiang said. I won't act rashly. I'll go in quietly and hide. I won't expose myself if I'm not confident. Lu Ming said. All right, let's do that. Ouyang Qingxiang was a decisive person. She nodded and the 2 of them approached the cave. The cave was huge and dark. They could not see what was inside. There were a dozen people outside the cave. They looked listless. There were no other living beings in the cave. They were guarding the cave just in case. Whoosh! At this moment, Ouyang Qingxiang rushed out. Who's there? Immediately, an old man shouted. It's the Saint Qingxiang. She wants to enter the ruins. Stop her. The gatekeepers roared and attacked Ouyang Qingxiang one after another. Half of them were in the heavenly god realm. There were also 2 in the 4th level of the heavenly god realm. They were very strong. However, Ouyang Qingxiang was the Saint Qingxiang. She controlled Saint Divine Power and was very strong. She easily blocked their attacks. Go and report to the Saint that Ouyang Qingxiang is here. I'll go. Suddenly, an old man rushed into the cave and disappeared. The others focused on dealing with Ouyang Qingxiang. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Lu Ming moved quickly along the ground. He used the obstacles on the ground to hide himself. The other party did not notice him. Lu Ming successfully rushed into the cave. The cave was pitch black. It was unfathomably deep. Lu Ming slowly slid down along one side of the wall. After sliding down for tens of thousands of meters, they finally reached the bottom of the cave. There was a tunnel at the bottom of the cave. It was a few thousand meters tall, and the walls were inlaid with luminous stones that emitted a faint glow. Lu Ming dashed into the passageway and kept moving forward. Someone's here. Suddenly, Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat, and he hurriedly hid in a groove on the wall. The walls of the passageway were uneven. Some places were protruding while others were concave. It was very easy to hide. After they hid well, a few figures flashed through the tunnel. Lu Ming could clearly see that it was a group of old men. They should have gone to help deal with Ouyang Qingxiang. They were in a hurry and didn't notice Lu Ming. After the few elders left, Lu Ming continued to head toward the passageway. Not long after, Lu Ming passed through the passageway and arrived at a huge underground space. That is, when Lu Ming arrived, he was stunned. The underground space was very vast. At the front, there was a huge stone staircase that was tens of thousands of meters tall. At the top of the staircase was a palace that looked like the legendary Dragon Palace. At the bottom of the staircase, there were a few figures standing. Lu Ming immediately saw that one of them was the Great Hong Saint. There were also 2 other people. They were 2 old men. The 2 of you, go out together and take down that bitch Ouyang Qingxiang. The Great Hong Saint's cold voice rang out. But Saint, once we go out, you will be the only one left here. One of the old men said hesitantly. It's fine. I'm about to climb the sacred dragon staircase. On the sacred dragon staircase, no matter who it is, they will be under terrifying pressure. They will also be protected. No one can harm me if they come in. Put it down. The Great Hong Saint waved his hand. All right, then we'll go out. The 2 old men nodded, and with a flash of their figures, they rushed outside. The Great Hong Saint looked at the staircase with a fiery glow in his eyes. I don't believe that I can't climb it. I can definitely do it. The Great Hong Saint growled. His body swelled up and transformed into the form of a dragon human. Golden divine power emanated from his body as he stepped onto the staircase. Bam! When the great Hong Saint stepped onto the staircase, there was a loud boom. It was as if a mountain had crashed onto the ground. The Tianhong Saint landed steadily on the first step. Then, he stepped forward and stepped onto the second step. With every step he took, the staircase would rumble. It was as if every step he took was extremely heavy. There is indeed a strong pressure on the staircase. Lu Ming pondered. He took a look and understood what was going on. He had encountered this type of test many times. The great Sky Hong Sage's speed was very fast at the start. Before long, he had crossed half the distance and his speed started to slow down. Clearly, the further he went, the greater the pressure he was under. Roar! A dragon's roar came from the great Hong Saint's body. The golden dragon scales on his body shone even more brightly. He looked determined as he slowly climbed step by step. Unfortunately, after a while, the great Hong Saint's body seemed to have stopped moving. I don't believe it. I don't believe that I can't go up. My dragon blood, boil for me. The great Hong Saint roared. The surface of his body was suffused with a blood-red glow. A six-clawed divine dragon appeared above his head. He even used the divine dragon Dharma body. As a result, the great Hong Saint was able to continue climbing. Unfortunately, when he was 2/3 of the way up the staircase, he stopped completely. He could not take another step. Damn it! Why? Could it be that my divine dragon bloodline is not rich enough? Why? The great Hong Saint roared. He was extremely indignant. Is there the complete divine dragon Dharma body technique up there? Lu Ming guessed. Since the great Hong Saint wanted to climb the staircase so badly, there was a high possibility that the complete divine dragon Dharma body technique was up there. Closer. Lu Ming followed the obstacles at the side and slowly approached the staircase. He was getting closer and closer to the palace above the staircase. At this moment, Lu Ming actually felt that his blood was slowly boiling. At the same time, there was a thirst. Yes, it was a thirst. It was a feeling that appeared automatically in his blood. It was as if there was something on the staircase that deeply attracted Lu Ming. I must go to the top of the palace. Lu Ming muttered. His gaze was resolute. He had made up his mind. There was a strong pressure on the staircase. The others seemed unable to go up. The great Hong Saint also did not have the strength to attack. Lu Ming was not afraid. Chapter 28:10. Lu Ming made up his mind. He wanted to go up. Lu Ming was a decisive person. Since he had made up his mind, he would not hesitate. He had no time to hesitate. If Ouyang Qingxiang could not hold the Skybright Saint's men back, he would be in trouble when the experts returned. Swoosh! Lu Ming did not hesitate any longer. He rushed out and headed for the stairs. The moment Lu Ming rushed out, the Skybright Saint noticed Lu Ming. Lu Ming, it's you. The Skybright Saint roared, his killing intent exploding. However, he was on the stairs. He could not kill Lu Ming even if he wanted to. Bam! Lu Ming landed heavily on the first step of the stairs. There was a loud boom. Immediately, Lu Ming sensed a powerful force coming from above the stairs. It was as though the mountains and seas were overturning. It was pressing toward Lu Ming, wanting to blast him out of the stairs. You want to climb the Saint Dragon stairs without the Divine Dragon bloodline? You are daydreaming, the Skybright Saint sneered and took a few steps down. He was waiting for Lu Ming to be blasted off the Saint Dragon stairs. Then, he would kill Lu Ming. This time, he wanted Lu Ming to die a horrible death. However, in the next moment, his body stiffened. Lu Ming was not blasted off the stairs as he had expected. Instead, he was standing steadily on the stairs. You have the Divine Dragon bloodline? The Skybright Saint asked in a gloomy voice. In this world, the dragon human tribe is not the only one with the Divine Dragon bloodline. Lu Ming smiled faintly. It turned out that only those with the divine dragon bloodline could climb the stairs. If one did not have the divine dragon bloodline, they would be blasted off the stairs by the power of the stairs. When Lu Ming stepped on the stairs, he was almost blasted off. At the critical moment, the 9 dragons' blood essence in his blood boiled, allowing him to stand on the stairs. So what if you have the divine dragon bloodline? Can you climb up? If you can't climb up, you'll die when you're exhausted. The Tianhong saint said coldly. Then, he strode down the stairs. As he walked back, he was very relaxed. Soon, the Tianhong saint reached the first step and came to Lu Ming's side. However, there was a force guarding the steps, so he could not attack Lu Ming. Glancing at Lu Ming with murderous intent, the heavenly Hong saint stepped out of the staircase and landed outside, guarding it. He was waiting for Lu Ming to be exhausted and fall down. Then, he could make a move to kill Lu Ming. You can just wait patiently. Lu Ming smiled contemptuously, then turned around and strode up the stairs. Bang! 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 With every step he took, the stairs would rumble. Lu Ming's speed was very fast. Very soon, he had taken a few hundred steps. He was even faster than the Tianhong saint. This kid. How is he so fast? The Tianhong saint's face was ghastly. The pressure is getting stronger, and the difficulty is getting higher. This kid definitely can't go up. He definitely can't. The Tianhong saint roared in his heart. He was a supreme talent of the dragon human race. The divine dragon bloodline in his body was very thick, comparable to the 6-clawed divine dragon. He did not believe that Lu Ming, a human, could have a thicker divine dragon bloodline than him. However, reality slapped him in the face. Lu Ming's speed did not slow down at all. Soon, he was halfway up the stairs. Then, he was halfway up the stairs. This was already the Tianhong saint's limit. However, Lu Ming had reached this point in one breath. At this point, Lu Ming's speed slowed down. The pressure here was already very shocking. The blood in Lu Ming's body was circulating rapidly as if it was going to burn. Roar! A dragon's roar came from the blood. A lifelike 9 dragons shuttled back and forth in the blood. There was a layer of blood mist on the surface of Lu Ming's body. Then, the blood mist gathered in the air to form 9 dragons that roared into the sky. 9. 9-clawed dragon. This is a 9-clawed dragon, the Tianhong saint roared in disbelief. He was so shocked that he almost jumped up. He would never have dreamed that Lu Ming's body actually contained the highest grade 9-clawed dragon bloodline among the divine dragons. No wonder this kid can walk so fast. It turns out that his body contains the 9-clawed dragon bloodline. If I can take the 9-clawed dragon bloodline from his body and use it for my own use, my talents will increase many times over. At this thought, the Tianhong saint's eyes were filled with greed. The 9 dragons appeared, and the pressure on Lu Ming lessened. His speed increased again. Soon, Lu Ming was only 100 steps away from the end of the stairs. However, the pressure on the last 100 steps was also the most terrifying. Lu Ming's body trembled with every step he took. Divine Dragon Aspect Art. Lu Ming roared and activated the Divine Dragon Aspect Art. An 8-clawed divine dragon appeared above his head. The 8-clawed divine dragon roared and pounced forward to help Lu Ming break through the pressure on the stairs. Instantly, the pressure was lifted again, and Lu Ming quickly ascended. Divine Dragon Aspect Art, damn it! At the sight of Lu Ming using the Divine Dragon Aspect technique, the heavenly Hong Saint gritted his teeth. He was both shocked and jealous. How long had it been? Lu Ming had mastered the Divine Dragon Aspect Art and even cultivated an 8-clawed Divine Dragon. He had been cultivating the Divine Dragon Aspect Art for tens of thousands of years, but he had only cultivated a 6-clawed Divine Dragon Aspect Art. This made him even more greedy for Lu Ming's 9 dragons bloodline. Bam! Bam! The rumbling of the stairs continued. Lu Ming was getting closer and closer to the top of the stairs. As for the Tianhong saint, his face darkened. With the last rumbling sound, Lu Ming successfully stepped onto the platform above the stairs. At the top of the stairs was a majestic palace. The doors of the palace were open, and he could not see what was inside. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Without hesitation, he strode forward and walked through the doors. After stepping through the doors, the light suddenly brightened. Lu Ming could clearly see the situation behind the doors. Behind the doors was a spacious hall. There was nothing else in the hall. It was empty. Lu Ming looked around but did not discover anything. However, the center of the hall attracted Lu Ming's attention. In the middle of the hall, there was a 1-meter-tall stone pillar. Above the stone pillar, a scroll was suspended, emitting a gentle light. Strangely, there was a small divine dragon outside the scroll. It was formed by energy and flew around the scroll. Could it be the complete divine dragon aspect art? Lu Ming's eyes lit up as he stepped forward. Lad, there is a defensive array on the scroll. Guillemot reminded him. There is a defensive array? How do I break it? Lu Ming asked. It's very simple. You have the blood essence of the 9-clawed dragon in your body. You just need to drip a drop of blood on the scroll and you will be able to break the array on it. Guillemot said. That's easy. Lu Ming immediately forced out a drop of blood and dripped it onto the scroll. Chapter 28:11. When Lu Ming's blood dripped onto the scroll, a dragon's roar came from the scroll. Then, the scroll emitted a dazzling light. After a long while, the light disappeared. Below the stairs, the Tianhong saint's son was extremely anxious. Suddenly, he heard the dragon's roar and the light emitted from the scroll. The Tianhong saint's son became even more anxious. Damn it! Could that brat have already obtained the complete divine dragon aspect art? The Tianhong saint's son thought anxiously. Then, he moved and rushed up the stairs. However, the strong pressure on the stairs made him stop very quickly. He could only retreat unwillingly. I'll wait here. Lu Ming, even if you have the complete divine dragon aspect art, you're just paving the way for me. That's good too. It saves me a lot of trouble. The Tianhong saint's son sneered. Thinking of this, his mood became better. In the hall, when the light on the scroll disappeared, Lu Ming reached out and grabbed the scroll. There was nothing strange. Lu Ming opened the scroll expectantly. There were many small words on the scroll, densely packed. Lu Ming looked at it carefully. After a long while, Lu Ming put down the scroll. The complete divine dragon aspect art. It's really the complete divine dragon aspect art. Lu Ming's face was filled with ecstasy. This scroll indeed recorded the complete divine dragon transcendence art. It was incomparably mysterious, much more so than the incomplete divine dragon transcendence art. If he could cultivate it to greater mastery, its power would definitely be shocking. It could become Lu Ming's trump card, even surpassing the ice shackles. How should I go down? After putting away the scroll, Lu Ming started thinking. The Tianhong saint's son must be guarding below the stairs. If he went down the stairs, the Tianhong saint's son would definitely not let him go. Forget it. I'll wait for a while. If there's really no other way, I'll just cultivate here for a while. I wonder how Holy Lady Qingxiang is doing. A thought flashed through Lu Ming's mind, and then he started to wander around the palace. There were other doors around the palace, and Lu Ming walked around but didn't find anything. Following this, Lu Ming walked towards the innermost door. Behind the innermost door was a long corridor. After passing through the corridor, a beam of light suddenly shot down from above. Lu Ming looked up and found that it was a door of light. The light came from the door of light. Could this be a teleportation gate? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. This is a teleportation gate. It should be a back path that leads to the outside world. Bone's voice rang out. The heavens are really helping me. Tianhong, just wait patiently. Lu Ming laughed and then soared into the sky, rushing towards the door of light. Lu Ming's figure disappeared into the light gate. In the next moment, Lu Ming appeared in a canyon. I'm out, I'm really out. I'll go find Holy Lady Qingxiang now. Lu Ming turned into a beam of light and left the place. This canyon wasn't far from the entrance. Soon, Lu Ming heard a violent explosion coming from the front. Ouyang Qingxiang was fighting fiercely with a group of experts. There were more than 10 old men, all of them in the heavenly god realm. Among them, there were even 1 or 2 in the heavenly god realm. There were also a few in the heavenly god realm. Facing so many experts, Ouyang Qingxiang mainly focused on defense. She wasn't at a disadvantage at all. Lu Ming flew over and shouted from a distance, "Holy Lady Qingxiang, let's go." Seeing Lu Ming suddenly appear from behind, Ouyang Qingxiang was obviously stunned. She was very surprised. Lu Ming had clearly entered the cave from the entrance. Why did he suddenly run to the back? However, she didn't think too much about it and began to attack. Green Lotus Sword Song. Ouyang Qingxiang shouted and waved her long sword. Green lotuses appeared in the air, each of them bursting with terrifying sword chi, forcing the old men to retreat. Ouyang Qingxiang took the opportunity to break out of the encirclement and flew towards Lu Ming. Should we chase after them? An old man asked. Ouyang Qingxiang is too strong. Even if we catch up with them, we can't do anything to her. Our duty is to guard this place and report this situation to the saint. Another old man said. All right. The others nodded. They didn't know that Lu Ming had sneaked in and even obtained the complete divine dragon aspect art that the great Sky Hong Saint yearned for. If they knew, they wouldn't have let Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang leave so easily. An old man rushed into the cave to report to the great Sky Hong Saint. Ouyang Qingxiang had already come to Lu Ming's side. Let's go back to the Kongxian school. Lu Ming said. Ouyang Qingxiang didn't ask any more questions. She soared into the sky with Lu Ming, took out the space battleship, and left the Dragon Head Star. The great Sky Hong Saint was still guarding at the bottom of the stairs. Kid, let's see how long you can stay here. The great Sky Hong Saint snorted. His eyes were filled with killing intent and fire. After a while, an old man rushed in hurriedly. How is it? How's that bitch Ouyang Qingxiang? The great Sky Hong Saint asked. She's gone. She left. The old man replied. She left? You guys are really useless. If I wasn't here, I would have suppressed her personally. The great Sky Hong Saint snorted. The old man's face turned ugly. Is it just Ouyang Qingxiang alone? Is there anyone else? The great Sky Hong Saint asked. Yes, there's someone else. It's Lu Ming. He left with Saint Qingxiang, the old man said. However, before the old man could finish, the great Sky Hong Saint shouted in disbelief. What? What did you say? You said it's Lu Ming. The great Sky Hong Saint jumped up and stared at the old man as though he was going to eat him alive. The old man was shocked. He didn't understand why the great Sky Hong Saint had such a huge reaction when he heard Lu Ming's name. He was confused. Did you see clearly? Is that really Lu Ming and not someone else? The great Sky Hong Saint asked with his eyes wide open. There's no mistake. It's definitely Lu Ming. The old man said firmly. Damn it, damn it. There's still a path up there. Damn it. Chase, chase, the great Sky Hong Saint roared. He turned into a beam of light and chased after them. After reaching the outside of the cave, the great Sky Hong Saint led his subordinates and chased in the direction of the Kongxian school. However, it was too late. Lu Ming and the rest were already far away. In the space battleship. Lu Ming, have you obtained the complete divine dragon aspect technique? Ouyang Qingxiang asked curiously. That's right. Lu Ming nodded. He didn't hide anything and told Ouyang Qingxiang what happened in the cave. This time, I have to thank Saint Qingxiang for her help. Otherwise, it would have been difficult for me to get it. If Saint Qingxiang needs help in the future, feel free to ask. Lu Ming won't refuse. Lu Ming said. You're welcome. However, I'm afraid the great Sky Hong Saint will know about it soon and will come after us. He's bent on getting the complete version of the Divine Dragon Aspect technique. Now that you have it, I'm afraid he'll go crazy. We have to hurry back to the Kongxian school and make preparations. Ouyang Qingxiang said. Lu Ming nodded. Chapter 28:12. After more than a month of traveling, Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang finally returned to the Kongxian school. After returning to the Kongxian school, Lu Ming immediately brought in Hai, Lu Chang, and Zhao Feng to Ouyang Qingxiang's residence. Autumn Moon is still in the Divine Vein Tower. I hope she won't come out during this time. Lu Ming pondered. However, Lu Ming was very low-key when he brought Autumn Moon to the Kongxian school. Not many people knew that Autumn Moon was related to him, so she should be fine. After Ouyang Qingxiang returned to her residence, she gathered many experts belonging to her faction and stationed them at her mountain. Not long after Lu Ming's group returned, the Skybright Saint Sun also returned. The moment he returned, he rushed to Lu Ming's residence. When he didn't find Lu Ming, he went to Anhai's residence. The residence of Lu Chang and the others was also empty. Humph, you must be hiding at that bitch Ouyang Qingxiang's place. Don't think you'll be fine hiding there. If you don't hand over the Divine Dragon Aspect technique, I'll kill you even if you hide to the ends of the earth. The Skybright Saint Sun roared in anger. Then, he gathered a large number of experts and charged toward Ouyang Qingxiang's residence. What is the Skybright Saint Sun planning to do by gathering so many experts? Something big must have happened. He's heading toward Saint Qingxiang's residence. Does he want to start a war with her? Quick, inform the Saint Sun. The Skybright Saint Sun gathered so many experts and charged toward Ouyang Qingxiang's residence. Naturally, he couldn't hide it from others. The other Saint Sun factions quickly found out, and many people rushed toward Ouyang Qingxiang's residence. At Ouyang Qingxiang's residence, Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang were discussing something. They're here. An old woman suddenly spoke and looked outside. This old woman was an inner elder belonging to Ouyang Qingxiang's faction. Her strength was extremely shocking. They're really fast. Let's go out and welcome them. Ouyang Qingxiang sneered. They walked out of the courtyard and stood in the air. Rumble. In the distance, there was a rumbling explosion. Then, a terrifying wave of divine power surged toward them like a powerful army. However, there were many experts gathered at Ouyang Qingxiang's residence. Their auras surged into the sky like smoke, defeating the surging waves of divine power. A black mass of people appeared on the horizon. There were at least 1,000 of them. The person in the lead was the Tianhong Saint. The Tianhong Saint brought his people and stopped 1,000 miles away. Lu! The Tianhong Saint Sun's gaze landed on Lu Ming. It was filled with murderous intent and greed. Tianhong, what are you trying to do by bringing so many people here in such an aggressive manner? Ouyang Qingxiang knew the answer. What? It's very simple. Hand Lu Ming over to me. I'll leave with him immediately. The Tianhong Saint said. Saint Sun, Saint Sun. It's ridiculous. Lu Ming is also a saint. Not everyone can take him away as they wish. Ouyang Qingxiang sneered. Today, I must take Lu Ming away. Whoever stops me will be my enemy. I will not hesitate to fight. The Saint Sun said coldly. Lu Ming had not only taken away the complete divine dragon aspect art, but he also had the 9-clawed dragon bloodline. To the Saint Sun, Lu Ming was a huge treasure trove. As long as he could obtain Lu Ming's 9-clawed dragon bloodline and the complete divine dragon aspect art, his combat strength would definitely rise to an astonishing level. He could even surpass the Paragon Saint and become the first saint of the Kongxian school. In that case, the position of the future sect master of the Kongxian school would be in his bag. At the thought of this, his heart was burning with passion. He must get Lu Ming. If you want to fight, then let's fight. Do you think I'm afraid of you? Ouyang Qingxiang was extremely domineering. Good, very good. In that case, I'll break into your sect today. Attack and take down Lu Ming. The saint's son roared. Boom! 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 The experts of the Tenho Seiko faction and Ouyang Qingxiang's factions erupted with terrifying auras. They clashed in the void, causing shockwaves to fill the sky. There were many inner elders among them, and they were all peak heavenly gods. At this moment, their auras clashed and shook the heavens and earth. Then, a few figures soared into the sky. In an instant, they had rushed out of the atmosphere and started fighting in the starry sky. Peak heavenly gods were too terrifying. If they were to fight in the atmosphere, the destruction to the earth would be unimaginable. Kill! The strongest people fought outside the starry sky. The Saint's son and the others charged toward Ouyang Qingxiang and Lu Ming. Attack! Ouyang Qingxiang and the others did not retreat and charged forward. Ouyang Qingxiang once again clashed with the great Sky Hong Saint. Take down Lu Ming. Take him down. Several heavenly gods rushed toward Lu Ming. Fortunately, there were experts on Ouyang Qingxiang's side who stayed by Lu Ming's side and blocked the other party's attack. Thousands of experts from both sides fought fiercely. This area was already surrounded by people. Even the Saint's son Ji Xia and Saintess Xuetan came personally. What happened? Why did the Saint's son bring people to fight with Ouyang Qingxiang? Saint's son Ji Xia asked, full of doubts. I don't know, but it must be something big. Otherwise, the Saint's son wouldn't be so crazy. He wants to take down Lu Ming. I guess Lu Ming has offended him again. Saintess Xuetan said. However, they would not go out to stop it. They could not wait for the Saint's son and Ouyang Qingxiang to fight. It would be best if both sides were injured. Then, their competition would be smaller. The battle was getting more and more intense. Some people even died. Boom! At this moment, a huge hand suddenly appeared in the starry sky. This gigantic hand was boundlessly huge, and it pressed down on the inner court elders who were in the midst of a fierce battle. Deity King, the inner elders screamed in horror. Then, they were pressed down by the huge hand. They were blasted into the atmosphere like meteorites and fell to the ground. Then, a figure suddenly appeared in the sky, exuding a terrifying and boundless pressure. It pressed down on the Saint's son and Ouyang Qingxiang's factions. The people of the two factions were directly imprisoned in the air by this force, unable to move. Kid, the Deity King has appeared. I have to hide. Gumo's voice sounded, then entered Jing Yu's portrait and disappeared. The Deity King, what a terrifying pressure. Lu Ming looked at the figure in the sky, full of shock. At this moment, his body could not move at all under the pressure of that pressure. Not to mention him, even the high-level heavenly gods could not move at all. It's the Deputy Hall Master of the Tribunal Council. Someone exclaimed. The Saint's son, Ouyang Qingxiang, and the others' eyes turned serious. Obviously, their battle had alarmed the Tribunal Council. Even the Deputy Hall Master of the Tribunal Council, who was a Deity King, had personally come. As saints and saintesses, you actually led your fellow disciples to kill each other. What a scandal! The Deputy Hall Master of the Tribunal Council said sternly. Chapter 28:13. Deputy Hall Master, it's Tianhong. He suddenly sent people to attack me, so I could only retaliate with my men. Ouyang Qingxiang was the first to speak. Bullshit. You teamed up with Lu Ming and snatched my treasure. It's only right that I take Lu Ming away and take back my treasure. The Tianhong Saint roared. What a joke. What treasure? You're really shameless. That's a secret art in a relic. As long as you haven't obtained the item in the relic, everyone who saw it has a share. You can't get it because you're trash. Now that I have it, I have to give it to you. Lu Ming's voice was filled with mockery. I've discovered that relic long ago. The Tianhong Saint roared, releasing an extremely cold murderous intent. He looked at Lu Ming ferociously, wishing he could cut Lu Ming into pieces. Ha ha ha, what a joke. What's even more ridiculous is that you're a saint. How could you say such ridiculous things? According to your logic, as long as I explore all the relic and discover it, it's mine and no one else is allowed to enter? Is that possible? I'm really doubtful. How did you become a saint with such a brain? How could so many people submit to you? Hey, those of you who have submitted to the Tianhong Saint, think carefully. What's the point of following such a person? Why don't you all submit to me? Lu Ming laughed. What did you say? Piece of shit, I'm going to kill you. The Tianhong Saint was furious. His eyes were burning with rage. He wished he could rush up and kill Lu Ming. Unfortunately, he couldn't move under the pressure of the Deputy Hall Master of the Law Enforcement Hall. Alright, no matter what grudges you have, you'll be severely punished for killing your fellow disciples in the sect. The Deputy Hall Master of the Law Enforcement Hall's voice was filled with majesty and sternness. Many people shuddered in fear. The Deputy Hall Master of the Law Enforcement Hall was famous for his strictness. Even the Tianhong Saint felt a chill in his heart and suppressed his anger. Tianhong, you started the fight. You are in the wrong. I will give you 3 days to hand over 200,000 points. Then, you will face the wall for 20 years. Do you accept that? After the Deputy Hall Master of the Law Enforcement Hall said this, he looked at the Great Sky Hong Sage coldly. The Great Sky Sage was unconvinced. However, how could he dare say no now? Yes. The Tianhong Saint lowered his head. The murderous intent in his heart had already reached its peak. Lu Ming, if I don't kill you, I swear I'm not human. The nine-clawed dragon bloodline and the mystical dragon aspect art are all mine. The Tianhong Saint roared in his heart. Qingxiang, since you're only defending passively and it's not your fault, I'll punish you to face the wall for 10 years. Do you accept? The Vice Hall Master of the Law Enforcement Hall looked at Ouyang Qingxiang. This disciple is sincerely convinced. Ouyang Qingxiang nodded. Alright, now, let's disperse. The Vice Hall Master of the Law Enforcement Hall waved his hand and the pressure disappeared without a trace. Go! The Tianhong Saint bellowed and left dejectedly with his men. It's over just like that. Saint Shi Xia and Saint Xuetan were slightly disappointed and left as well. Saint Qingxiang, it's Lu Ming who has implicated you. Lu Ming looked at Ouyang Qingxiang apologetically. It was all because of Lu Ming that Ouyang Qingxiang was punished. Moreover, people from her faction had died and many were injured. Lu Ming felt a little apologetic. It's alright. It's just 10 years of facing the wall. It'll pass in the blink of an eye. I can use this time to hone my mental state. However, the Tianhong Saint has also been punished. He won't dare to do anything in the sect for the time being. However, once you're out of the sect, you still have to be careful. Tianhong won't let this go, Ouyang Qingxiang said. Lu Ming nodded. Not long after, Lu Ming bade farewell to Ouyang Qingxiang and returned to his residence. The following days were indeed peaceful. The Tianhong Saint did not send anyone to deal with Lu Ming. I still have to raise my strength as soon as possible. Now that Little Ball has broken through to the 8th level of the True God Realm, it'll be a great help to me. It'll be great if Little Ball can break through to the Heavenly God Realm. I'll go exchange for more fragments of divine artifacts for Little Ball to eat. Lu Ming pondered and then sorted out all the storage rings on his body. During this time, he had killed many strong enemies and obtained many storage rings. The number of treasures and divine crystals he had sorted out was astonishing. Lu Ming exchanged most of these treasures and divine crystals for points. He then used his points to exchange for a large number of fragments of divine artifacts. The lowest grade was a fragment of a medial level 9 divine artifact. There were even some fragments of superior divine artifacts. Even though it was a fragment of a superior grade divine weapon, the price was astonishingly high. In that case, Lu Ming did not have many points left. After returning to his residence, Lu Ming gave all the fragments of divine artifacts to Little Ball for him to eat slowly. As for himself, he began to comprehend the complete divine dragon aspect art. The complete divine dragon aspect art was much more difficult to cultivate. The time required was also much longer. However, Lu Ming only used half a year to successfully cultivate the complete divine dragon aspect art. Roar! A dragon's roar rang out. A divine dragon condensed above his head. This divine dragon had 9 claws and was very similar to the 9 dragons. 9-clawed dragon. Lu Ming had finally cultivated the 9-clawed dragon aspect. As long as Lu Ming willed it, the 9-clawed dragon aspect would pounce out to attack the enemy. Its power was astonishing. Of course, the divine dragon aspect art was far from complete. As Lu Ming's comprehension deepened, he could cultivate a second, third, and even more divine dragon aspects in the future. In the following days, Lu Ming cultivated in peace. He took turns to cultivate various divine skills and secret techniques. A few decades was too short for an immortal. It passed in the blink of an eye. In the blink of an eye, more than 20 years had passed. In these 20 years, Lu Ming entered a period of stability. He didn't improve much in all aspects. He mainly focused on stabilizing his foundation. On the other hand, Little Ball had swallowed a large number of fragments of divine artifacts. His cultivation had improved further, reaching the 9th stage True God realm. As for Autumn Moon, she had been cultivating in a secret room in the Divine Vein Pagoda for more than 20 years. Lu Ming had also gone to take a look. The secret room was emitting the aura of Autumn Moon. Everything was normal. Lu Ming had nothing to worry about. At this time, a piece of news spread like a hurricane to the Qin Tian 13 sects and some other powerful forces. On the ancient god planet, the array on the bronze door was finally broken. Some of the strongest array masters in the Qin Tian star field had finally broken the array and opened the bronze door after decades of hard work. Many people had already gone in to explore, but the results were shocking. Behind the bronze door was a world, an ancient and desolate world. Inside, there were many treasures of heaven and earth. Many of them were extinct in the outside world. Chapter 28:14. The moment this news came out, the various factions of the Qin Tian star field and countless experts began to gather on the ancient god planet. Lu Ming was focused on his seclusion, so he was unaware of this news. By the time he found out, 1 month had passed, and it was Ouyang Qingxiang who told him. On this day, Ouyang Qingxiang found Lu Ming and told Lu Ming the news. The ancient god planet's bronze gate was actually opened. Lu Ming's interest was piqued. The bronze gate had appeared in the sacred land of the ancient god descendants, so it definitely had something to do with them. Lu Ming had condensed the ancient god heart, so he was very interested in this matter. Correct. It opened a month ago. I was also in seclusion, so I only just received the news. It said that there's an ancient and desolate world inside, filled with countless natural treasures. Many experts from various factions have gone in. I came to find you because I wanted to work with you and go in together. How about it? Ouyang Qingxiang said. Okay. Lu Ming nodded without hesitation. Lu Ming led in Hai, Lu Chang, and Zhao Feng, while Ouyang Qingxiang led a group of experts from her faction. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng were also part of this group, and they set off for the ancient god planet. After a long journey, they came to a place not far from the bronze gate on the ancient god planet. Lu Ming was rather emotional at this second visit. So many experts. Lu Ming sensed that terrifying energies were faintly discernible around the bronze gate. Every single one of these auras was extremely powerful, giving off a pressure that was as deep as the ocean. God Kings. These energies were all at the God King realm, no less than several dozen. There were dozens of Divine King realm experts gathered near the Bronze Gate. Didn't they say that the majority of the experts had already entered the world behind the Bronze Gate? Why are there so many God King experts here? Lu Ming asked. I heard that God King experts find it very difficult to enter the Bronze Gate, Ouyang Qingxiang said. Yes. Oh? God Kings can't enter? Lu Ming said. It's not that we can't enter at all. It's said that there's a force on the bronze door that can stop Divine Kings from entering. This energy is profound and unfathomable. Even the strongest formation grandmasters of the Qin heavenly star field can't break through it. However, they managed to create a formation that can only send a dozen God Kings through the Bronze Gate. After some discussion, we decided that the Qin heavenly 13 sects, the Ice Soul race, and the Scarlet Flame race, a total of 15 major powers, would each send a godly king. Ouyang Qingxiang said. Lu Ming finally understood. As it turned out, God Kings couldn't enter in large numbers. Each of the 15 strongest powers in the Qin heavenly star field sent a God King in. As for those below the godly king realm, they could enter and leave as they pleased. Lu Ming felt a little helpless. He had originally thought that after most people entered the bronze door, he could take the opportunity to get Qiuqiu to bite the bronze door. Now, it looked like this idea wouldn't work. With so many godly king experts guarding the door, how could he get Qiuqiu to bite the bronze door? If he really did that, Qiuqiu would immediately be taken away by those experts to be studied. It's said that the world behind the bronze door is vast and boundless. However, there's also a terrifying danger inside. There's a kind of evil creature that looks like both demons and demons. They're known as demons. Now, every power has built a city inside as their base. God Kings are guarding the city to guard against the demons. Ouyang Qingxiang explained. They flew towards the bronze door as they flew. No one stopped them. In fact, anyone below the godly king realm wouldn't be stopped if they wanted to enter. Even those from smaller powers wouldn't be stopped if they wanted to. However, without a godly king, it was extremely dangerous for a power that had built a city as their base to enter. There was a high chance that they would die in the hands of the demons. The giant bronze door was open, and it was pitch black inside. Let's go. Ouyang Qingxiang said. Everyone flew towards the bronze door. Apart from them, there were many other people from other powers who flew into the door with them. After a moment of dizziness, Lu Ming realized that they had appeared on a huge platform. Lu Ming raised his head and saw a huge whirlpool in the sky above his head. This whirlpool was the entrance and exit. Lu Ming saw many people who were covered in blood flying into the sky and disappearing into the whirlpool. They should have left this place. These people should be from smaller powers. They didn't build a base here and didn't have a godly king to guard them. They didn't have a place to recuperate after fighting with the demons, so they could only leave this place. Ouyang Qingxiang explained. Lu Ming nodded. Those who went out should be from smaller powers. For example, the Qin Tian 13 sects, the Ice Soul race, and the Scarlet Flame race all had their own bases. If they were injured, they could recuperate in their bases. There was no need for them to go out. People from the immeasurable sacred ground, come to me. I'll bring you to the base. People from the Winged Devil Academy, come to me. I'll bring you to the base. People from the Kongxian School, come to me. I'll bring you to the base. Voices sounded around the platform. It turned out that there were people from various major powers around the platform. Those from smaller powers could only look on enviously. Those are the people from the Kongxian School. Let's go over. Ouyang Qingxiang and the others walked in a certain direction. There were many experts from the Kongxian School there. So it's Saintess Qingxiang, Saintess Lu Ming. Follow me. An old man, an inner elder of the Kongxian School, recognized Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang at a glance. The crowd followed the inner sect elder and flew away. But at this moment, something strange happened. Rumble. The whirlpool in the sky shook violently and let out a deafening roar. What's going on? Why is the spatial gate shaking all of a sudden? Many people's faces changed drastically. But then, the whirlpool shook even more violently. Boom! Boom! Then, a terrifying explosion occurred. The whirlpool began to collapse. Yes, it began to collapse. A terrifying force spread out and wreaked havoc in all directions. Not good. Leave quickly. Retreat quickly. Many people shouted and flew away from the platform. Lu Ming and the others also flew far away. When they were far enough away, they looked back and were completely dumbfounded. The whirlpool was gone. Yes, that whirlpool had already disappeared without a trace. The spatial path is gone. It's over. Are we going to be trapped here forever? What's going on? Does anyone know what's going on? The scene was in an uproar. Many people shouted in horror. Without the spatial path, they would be trapped here forever. Chapter 28:15. The faces of Lu Ming, Ouyang Qingxiang, and the rest darkened. Huoran. 1. N. Calm. They were too unlucky. They had just entered and the space passage had already collapsed. If it had collapsed earlier, they wouldn't have been able to enter. Everyone, don't panic. There are many godly kings and array masters guarding outside. They will definitely find a way to reopen the space passage. Someone, an old man, shouted. Some of the old men who had lived for countless years and experienced great storms quickly calmed down. Many people calmed down after hearing that. Indeed, there were many godly kings and array masters outside. They would definitely not let so many people be trapped here. They would definitely find a way to reopen the space passage. Saintess Qingxiang, chosen one Lu Ming, now that the space passage has collapsed, it's useless to stay here. Why don't we go to the base first? I have to report the situation here to the godly kings in the base. The inner sect elder said. All right. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang nodded. Since they were already here, they might as well take things as they came. Since the spatial gate had temporarily collapsed, they could only cultivate in this world for a period of time. The people from the other sects and forces had similar thoughts. They left some people to guard the place while the others flew to their bases. When the space passage collapsed, the ancient god planet's bronze gate underwent a major change. The originally open bronze door suddenly emitted a resplendent radiance and slowly closed on its own. Not good. What's going on? Stop it. There were at least several dozen god kings in the surroundings of the bronze gate. They were all shocked at this moment, and they all struck out with terrifying energy at the bronze gate in an attempt to stop it from closing. However, it was useless. The bronze gate continued to close at a constant speed. Clang! In the end, the bronze gate closed completely. Master, what's going on? A godly king from the Mystic Academy looked at an array master with a gloomy face. The array master frowned and thought carefully. After a while, he shook his head and said, Strange, strange. I don't know what's going on either. You don't know what's going on. The expressions of the other god kings changed. There were many people from the major forces who had entered the Bronze Gate, including some of the top geniuses. If these people couldn't come out, it would be a fatal loss for the major forces. The only thing we can do now is to continue our research and find a way to open the door again. Another array master said helplessly. Then I'll have to trouble you. A god king expert said. After a while, one of the formation grandmasters said with a serious expression, this formation has become even stronger after it was closed. I'm afraid it will take a long time to open it. How much time do you need? Someone asked. It could be as short as a few decades, or as long as a few centuries. A formation master said. A few hundred years? That's good. Then I'll have to trouble the masters to crack it. The various deity kings nodded. Indeed, it would take a few hundred years to open. The situation was not that bad. At that moment, Lu Ming, Ouyang Qingxiang, and the others followed the inner sect elder of the Kongxian school and flew for a while before a huge city appeared in front of them. The city was built between two large canyons. It was a natural stronghold and was incomparably majestic. This was the new base that the Kongxian school had built recently. The people of the Kongxian school who had entered this world were all gathered in this base. The crowd flew in and saw that there were many stone houses in the city. Find an empty space and build your own stone houses. Also, you're free to enter and leave the city. No one restricts you. However, the demons outside are very strange and powerful. You have to be careful when you go out on an adventure. The inner sect elder reminded them. After that, the inner sect elder flew away. Lu Ming, Ouyang Qingxiang, and the others looked around and then flew toward an empty space. This city was very large, and there were also large expanses of empty land. Lu Ming. Suddenly, a roar filled with cold murderous intent was heard. At the side, a group of figures flew out from a stone house and blocked Lu Ming's path. Tianhong. Lu Ming narrowed his eyes. The leader was the Tianhong saint. The Tianhong saint looked at Lu Ming with a ferocious gaze and sneered. You're also in the ancient god world. Good, very good. Let's see who can protect you here. Tianhong, don't flatter yourself. If you want to fight, we're not afraid of you. Ouyang Qingxiang sneered. Oh, what if you include me? A cold voice came from behind. Then, another group of figures flew over. Floating light. Ouyang Qingxiang's expression changed. The group that came behind was Fuko Seiko and his subordinates. They surrounded the back of Lu Ming and the rest. Floating light, when did you team up with Tianhong? Ouyang Qingxiang asked coldly. It's not really a team-up, but Lu Ming has killed many of my men. I just happen to want to settle this score with him. Fuko Seiko sneered and emitted a cold murderous intent. The Tianhong Saint and Fuko Seiko's factions surrounded Lu Ming's group. The cold murderous intent made many people's expressions change. However, Ouyang Qingxiang remained calm because she knew the rules. Do you dare to fight here? From what I know, the deity king has ordered that fighting is prohibited in this city to prevent the demons from taking advantage of the situation. Do you dare to go against the deity king's order? Ouyang Qingxiang sneered. The Tianhong Saint and Fuko Seiko's faces darkened. The deity king guarding this city had indeed given this order. And they did not dare to go against it. So what? Once you leave this city, no one will care about you. Unless you stay in this city forever and don't go out. The Tianhong Saint sneered. That's right. I will send people to keep an eye on you. Since you came here, you can hide in this city forever. The Lonely Light Saint also sneered. Ouyang Qingxiang's face darkened. Since they came to this world, they had to go out and take risks to obtain treasures. Otherwise, why would they come here? Instead of hiding in this city, they might as well stay in the Kongxian school and cultivate. Seeing Ouyang Qingxiang's ugly expression, the Tianhong Saint and Fuko Seiko smiled happily. Saint Qingxiang, let's go. We can't be bothered with a few mad dogs. At this moment, Lu Ming spoke calmly and stepped forward. What did you say? The Tianhong Saint and Fuko Seiko's faces turned red. Good dogs don't block the way. Lu Ming looked at the Tianhong Saint with disdain. The Tianhong Saint was furious and almost vomited blood. He wanted to slap Lu Ming to death. Chapter 28:16. But in the end, the Tianhong Saint held himself back and did not dare to make a move. Renina Khan, the Divine King's orders could not be disobeyed, even if he was the saint. Lu Ming, you'd better not leave this city. Otherwise, I'll let you die a horrible death. The Tianhong saint left these words with a ferocious expression. Then, he turned and left with his men. Fuko Seiko snorted and left with her men. Of course, they had left people behind to monitor Lu Ming and the others from afar. If Lu Ming and the others left the city, they would launch a thunderous attack. As for Lu Ming and the others, they came to the open space and started building stone houses. With their cultivation, it was too easy for them to build stone houses. In just a few minutes, huge stone houses rose from the ground. For the next few days, they stayed here and did not leave the city. This was because Fuko Seiko had sent people to keep an eye on the Tianhong saint. In the blink of an eye, more than 10 days had passed, and the situation was still the same. Fragrant saintess, you all can leave the city first. I will stay here alone. Lu Ming said. Shall we leave the city first? Ouyang Qingxiang's expression changed. That's right. Tianhong, the person floating light wants is me. If I'm not around, they won't do anything to you guys. You guys leave the city first. It'll be easier for me to act alone. I'll also think of a way to leave the city. Lu Ming said. During this period of time, they discovered that many people who had left the city and returned had made great gains. The number of natural treasures here was truly astonishing. This world was like the ancient world when the universe first opened. There were all kinds of natural treasures that no one could exploit. It was extremely rich. Staying in the city and not going out was really not worth it. Then you have to be careful. Ouyang Qingxiang pondered for a moment and nodded. That was the only thing they could do now. Afterward, Ouyang Qingxiang led the people from her faction, and Hai, Lu Chang, and Zhao Feng, and left the city, disappearing into the vast earth. Saint Child, Ouyang Qingxiang's group has left the city, but Lu Ming hasn't. He is still in the city. Once Ouyang Qingxiang left, someone reported to the Great Hong Saint. During this time, the Tianhong Saint had not left the city and had been guarding it. Lu Ming didn't leave. The Heavenly Hong Saint's eyes flashed coldly. Saint, what should we do now? Someone asked. Dealing with Lu Ming alone is simple. Leave a few experts behind to keep an eye on Lu Ming. As soon as he leaves the city, kill him without mercy. The Tianhong Saint said coldly. After that, he left behind a few experts to keep an eye on Lu Ming while he led his men out of the city. If he stayed in the city every day, he wouldn't be able to obtain anything. He couldn't afford to waste time. Therefore, since there was only Lu Ming, there was no need for him to personally guard this place. If Lu Ming continued to stay in the city without moving, he could not afford to waste time. On the other hand, after Fuko Seiko received the news, he had the same plan as the Tianhong Saint. He left behind a few experts to keep an eye on Lu Ming while he led his men out of the city. After Ouyang Qingxiang and the rest left, Lu Ming leisurely cultivated in the city. Just a little more. Lu Ming muttered. His 9 heavens Kunpeng technique was about to break through to the 5th level. As long as he broke through to the 5th level, he would be able to shake off those who were watching him and leave the city. Tianhong, floating light, Lu Ming, will make you regret this sooner or later. A cold light flashed across Lu Ming's eyes. He then returned to the stone house to continue cultivating. In the blink of an eye, 3 months had passed. Success! Lu Ming's eyes lit up. After a few months of cultivation, Lu Ming's 9 heavens Kunpeng technique had finally reached the 5th level. His speed had increased greatly. It's time to leave. Lu Ming moved and left the stone house, flying towards the city gate. Lu Ming is leaving. Follow him. When he leaves the city, we'll kill him. When Lu Ming moved, the Tianhong Saint and Fuko Seiko's men immediately received the news. Cold murderous intent flashed in their eyes as they followed Lu Ming from afar. When he arrived at the city gate, Lu Ming did not hesitate and rushed out of the gate. He then executed the 9 heavens Kunpeng technique and rushed towards the vast forest ahead. What a dense divine aura! What an ancient aura, as soon as he rushed into the forest, an ancient aura rushed towards him. Moreover, the trees in the forest were exceptionally tall. Giant trees with diameters of tens of meters, a few hundred meters, and a few thousand meters tall could be seen everywhere. It gave one a feeling that they had returned to the ancient times. Chase! The experts left behind by the Tianhong Saint and Fuko Seiko were all middle-aged burly men or white-haired old men. All of them were heavenly god realm experts with great strength. As soon as they rushed out of the city gate, they quickly chased after Lu Ming. A few old fellows, a ray of cold light flashed in Lu Ming's eyes as he increased his speed. He was like a Kuan-peng, flying across the sky at an astonishing speed. However, those who chased after him were all heavenly god realm experts. There were even second-level heavenly gods whose cultivation was much higher than Lu Ming's. Their speed was too fast and the distance between them and Lu Ming was constantly shrinking. Lu Ming, you can't escape. Prepare to die. An old man shouted coldly. Is that so? Lu Ming sneered. However, he had no intention of stopping to fight with the other party. The experts left behind by the Tianhong Saint and Fuko Seiko were all astonishingly strong. None of them were weaker than Lu Feiyan. Some of them were even stronger than Lu Feiyan. Even if Qiuqiu had broken through to the 9th level of True God Realm, they would still die if they stopped to fight. Lu Ming's palm glowed and a black jade talisman appeared in his hand. He squeezed it hard and the jade talisman exploded. A wave of energy wrapped around Lu Ming. A strange scene appeared. Lu Ming's body actually split into 2, 2 into 4, 4 into 8. In the end, there were a total of 32 figures. The 32 figures of Lu Ming had the exact same aura. They flew in different directions rapidly. This was Lu Ming's trump card. That jade talisman was a type of jade talisman that Lu Ming had refined after consulting Guimo. It was very effective in escaping at critical moments. However, the materials to refine this kind of jade talisman were too difficult to find. Lu Ming had searched the Kongxian school and only found the materials to refine one piece. The 32 figures appeared all of a sudden. Moreover, their aura was exactly the same. Those who were chasing after Lu Ming were instantly dumbfounded. This, what's going on? Damn it! Split up and chase! Someone roared. They had no choice but to split up and chase. However, in the end, they realized that what they were chasing was fake. After some time, they turned into energy and dissipated. As for Lu Ming's real body, it was unknown where it had gone. Damn it! The Tianhong Saint, Fuko Seiko, and the people left behind gathered together again. Their expressions were extremely ugly. Continue searching. I don't believe that he can escape to the sky. An old man roared and planned to continue searching. They had so many experts, but they had let Lu Ming escape under their noses. If the two saints asked about it, it would be difficult to explain. Chapter 28:17. Lu Ming shook off his pursuers and went deep into the forest. R-A-N-E Na Ko M. This world is really strange. After shaking off those pursuers, Lu Ming slowed down and looked around. This world was full of vitality. Ancient trees towered into the sky, and all kinds of plants were lush and full of powerful spirituality. Any one of these plants would be an emperor medicine in the primordial realm of the heaven realm, but they were not useful to Lu Ming. Lu Ming spread out his spirit sense. He was looking for those precious treasures. That's dragon ginseng. After walking for a while, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He saw a dragon beard ginseng, but this pillar dragon beard ginseng was too big, which shocked him. As the name suggested, the ordinary dragon ginseng was as thin as a dragon's beard. It was a rare divine medicine that could be refined into a divine pill that could increase the cultivation of a heavenly god. It was very precious. However, the dragon ginseng in front of him was as thick as Lu Ming's arm, which was dozens of times thicker than the ordinary dragon ginseng. Such a big dragon ginseng, haha. Lu Ming was overjoyed. Kid, this divine medicine contains rich chaos qi. It's not easy to refine it. In his sea of consciousness, the voice of the quantifying formula sounded. Chaos qi? Lu Ming was puzzled. That's right. This world is extremely ancient and has yet to be developed. That's why there's desolation qi. These divine herbs all contain desolation qi. It's difficult for ordinary people to refine them. Only by refining the desolation qi can one absorb the energy within the divine herbs. The quantifying formula explained. Lu Ming nodded. It seemed that although the divine medicine here was very strong, it was still difficult to refine it directly. The best choice was to take it out and refine it into a divine pill for an alchemist. But you have me, so you don't have to worry about that. Give me the dragon ginseng and I can help you refine it into pure energy for you to absorb. The quantifying formula said proudly. Hey, you absorbed so much energy from the ancient god flower last time. You said that you would refine it and pass it to me. It's been dozens of years and you still haven't refined it? Lu Ming asked. What do you know? How could it be easy to refine the energy of so many ancient god flowers? But don't worry, it won't take long. In a few months at most, I'll be able to completely refine it. At that time, your cultivation will be able to take another step forward. The quantifying formula began to shout. Really? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Nonsense, of course it's true. Why would I lie? The quantifying character formula shouted. Ha ha ha, good, good, this dragon ginseng is yours. Lu Ming smiled. After that, a quantity character emerged from between Lu Ming's eyebrows. A devouring force appeared and enveloped the dragon ginseng. The dragon ginseng transformed into a beam of light and flew into the quantity character. After that, the quantity character returned to hiding in Lu Ming's sea of consciousness. Lu Ming continued to move forward. Next, Lu Ming encountered a few more heavenly treasures. They were all rare divine herbs with amazing medicinal efficacy. If he took them out, he would definitely be able to sell them at a good price. No wonder so many people poured into this world. Lu Ming, who was moving forward, suddenly stopped and frowned. A long spear appeared in his hand. Because at this moment, he suddenly felt a sense of crisis. Swoosh! All of a sudden, a terrifying whistling sound could be heard from the right side. An extremely sharp force tore toward Lu Ming. Buzz! Without thinking, Lu Ming swept his spear to the right. Clang! Lu Ming's long spear seemed to have swept against a metal. Then, Lu Ming saw a black shadow being sent flying. Bang! The black shadow slammed heavily into an ancient tree with a diameter of several tens of meters, causing the ancient tree to explode. Demon, after seeing the appearance of the black shadow, Lu Ming's eyes flickered slightly. The one that attacked him was a wolf. This wolf was more than 3 meters tall and was completely black. It was no different from a typical demonic beast or desolate beast. However, this wolf did not have any demonic aura. Instead, it emitted a strong demonic aura. Its eyes were blood-red and filled with killing intent. A demonic wolf contains a strong demonic aura. No wonder it is called a demon. Lu Ming was amazed. It looked like a demon but not a demon. It looked like a demon but not a demon. It was a demon. Roar! The wolf-shaped demon roared and its killing intent became stronger. It stared at Lu Ming. Roar! Roar! Then, the roars continued. In the forest, black shadows flashed. At least dozens of wolf-shaped demons appeared on the branches of the surrounding ancient trees. They stared at Lu Ming with killing intent. Why am I so unlucky? Lu Ming was speechless. It seemed like he had encountered a wolf's den. Roar! Roar! With a roar, dozens of wolf-shaped demons turned into rays of black light and rushed towards Lu Ming. Chi-chi, the wolf-shaped demons clawed out with their sharp claws and let out a terrifying howl. Their sharp claws were like knives as they clawed at Lu Ming. Lu Ming's spear shook and rays of spear radiance burst out. Suddenly, there was the sound of metal clashing. Dozens of wolf-shaped demons were sent flying by him. This demon has such a strong attack power. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. Although he did not take the strength of these demons seriously, their attack power still surprised Lu Ming. The demonic aura of these demons had a strong destructive power. Between a demon of the same level and a martial artist of the outside world, the strength of these demons was definitely stronger. After the dozens of demons were sent flying, they did not retreat. Instead, they roared and rushed towards Lu Ming. "I'll send you all to hell." Lu Ming released his killing intent and increased his strength. Swoosh! Swoosh! Instantly, dozens of even sharper spear auras burst forth, piercing through the necks of these demons, killing them instantly. After killing these fiendish demons, Lu Ming left the place immediately. A few days later, Lu Ming walked out of the forest and came to an even more vast mountain range. In this mountain range, he would encounter demons from time to time. These demons looked no different from the demonic beasts and desolate beasts he had encountered before. However, their bodies were filled with a terrifying demonic aura and each of them had a terrifying combat strength. However, correspondingly, there were more heaven and earth treasures in this mountain range. Other than divine herbs, there were also many refining materials and even some precious metals. Most of those precious metals had entered Qiuqiu's stomach and were eaten by Qiuqiu. As for the divine herbs, most of them had been swallowed by the quantifying character formula. Lu Ming was speechless. Most of the divine herbs and metals he obtained had entered the quantifying character formula and Qiuqiu's stomachs. Very little entered his pockets. Lu Ming only hoped that these two fellows could bring him a surprise. Just like that, Lu Ming trained and fought in this desolate mountain range for a few months. As he ventured deeper, the demons he encountered became stronger and stronger. He frequently encountered demons at the peak of the 8th and 9th level of the true God realm. He even occasionally encountered demons at the heavenly God realm. Once he encountered a heavenly God realm demon, Lu Ming would take a detour. Even with Qiuqiu's help, he did not have much confidence in dealing with heavenly God realm demons. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.